If you know someone who just got Rise of Kingdoms or has been thinking about getting it and you want them to do good right now instead of them figuring out later which mistakes they made, but you also don't know how to explain everything on how the game works, then send them this video. Because many people think that they're on the right track, but they might not be, so let's get into it already. So on your first day, you spawn in alone or with the jumper group, doesn't matter. Mandatory tip number 1, don't fight anyone. So by any means, do your best to avoid all conflict because there is nothing good that would come from fighting other players in your home kingdom, especially if you're attacking a city. That's a big no-no. Because your main focus on the first 100 days should be to grow your city and get stronger, so to fight players in your home kingdom means to lose resources, speed ups, and troops against a random guy who probably won't even stick around as long as you do in the game, so don't be fighting irrelevant people because you're only making yourself weaker in the long run. Bonus tip for that, if you don't want anyone attacking your city, then teleport onto your alliance's territory, because if you stay on that territory, it will be physically impossible to attack your city and you will not have to worry about that as long as you're there. The only way that they can attack your city is if you're off territory or they destroyed the territory that you're on, leaving you off territory, so always stay on territory, and by that I mean the flags or alliance fortresses. Mandatory tip number 2, the moment you spawn into your kingdom, join the top 1 alliance. If that doesn't work, apply for the rank 2 alliance. If not, then the 3rd, and so on and so forth. Don't think that being on your own is better for you or anyone else, because it's not. Briefly, here are some of the things that you're going to be missing out on if you're not in an alliance. Passive resources of each kind, like this. There's also the help button, which is literally free speedups on stuff like building upgrades, research from the academy, and on healing troops. You also get protection from Alliance territory. You also get buffs like attack, defense, and march speed for your troops, among other things. Almost every time someone purchases something, you get free rewards like this, and it might not seem like a lot at first, but with so many purchases being done every day, it really does add up fast. And the reason why I say try joining the best ranked alliance is because that's where most of the spenders are, and that's where most of the active players are too, and so that means that your help button gets clicked faster, and that's where most of the knowledgeable players are. So any questions that you do have, they should be answered there. Moving on, we have mandatory tip number 3, which is this is not Clash of Clans, so try to get your city hall leveled up as fast as you can, so do the bare minimum on requirements just to get the upgrade. Because if not, then you're only wasting time and resources and falling behind everyone else if you're trying to upgrade every building. Mandatory tip number 4, don't get cocky with your resources. It's easy to think that I have more resources or speedups than I can use right now, but that's only what you think in the moment. Hate to break it to you, but in the time of upgrading buildings and research, you will not have enough resources or speedups, so let me say it again, you don't have enough. So keep farming every chance that you get, and keep hoarding speedups until you can afford the next upgrade, and even then, don't stop. Having tens of millions of resources is not enough. Having hundreds of millions, then maybe, but still, probably not. Next we have mandatory tip number 5, and that's to not invest in legendary gathering commanders. That is by far the worst use of your legendary sculptures. And that's because you either get them for free from the gold chests, or because you can get these commander sculpture chests for free from reoccurring events like daily gathering, and you can choose which sculpture you want from these 3 commanders here. And random bonus tip, max their gathering skills first, and then focus on expertising Sendok first because she offers 10% bonus resources when finished gathering. Then we go to mandatory tip number 6, and that is that attack is not the most important stat. Yeah, it might sound like it, and in other games it might be the best for combat, but in this game where the fights last such a long time, your plan is to drain the enemy of resources and speed up so that you can continue fighting leading up to your victory. So the health stat helps you trade better in combat, which means you take less severely wounded troops than you normally would had you gone for the attack stat. So of the 3 basic stats, health is the most important, then it's defense, and then it's attack. And this happens because the more of a certain stat that you have, the less significant it's valued at. So like you get more attack than anything else in this game because you get it from research, alliance technology, KVK technology, and most commanders have attack. Then you get defense from all the same ways except there are fewer commanders with defense and KVK technology does not offer defense either. Then you have the least amount of health because even less commanders offer health, there's no alliance technology for it, and KVK technology does not offer it either, so that's why it's health, then defense, and then attack. Mandatory tip number 7 is don't give your gold away. Yeah, it doesn't look like you need it right now or anytime in the future, but you're definitely going to need it when you unlock tier 5 units. You will need it for research and troops, and it easily becomes the most important resource in the future, and by the time that you get your account to the point where you need gold, everyone else would have as well, so it's not going to be easy getting help on gold when that time comes around. So again, even though it might not look like you need it right now, trust me that you will regret giving it away in the future. And finally, mandatory tip number 8 is equipment is permanent while commanders come and go due to updates. You could have the best meta commanders in the game, but if your gear isn't good, then your commanders will not perform as well either. In the early game, none of those gold key commanders will match up to the commanders in Season of Conquest, not even close, so focus on getting your equipment in a good position rather than raising your commander's skill level because you can take that gear with you forever, not those gold key commanders. Commanders get power crept a lot faster than before in my opinion, so try not to spend your legendary sculptures until you get to Season of Conquest. I know that's hard, but just try your best. But yeah, those are my 8 mandatory basic tips for players that are just starting out. Feel free to ask questions or look at the comments. Usually there's a lot more stuff that I forget to mention, but others will point it out there. It's really helpful, but yeah, that's it for the video. Later.